This is Fran from Treasures for Dolls. I wanted to share today how I make my little peeps, bunny peeps for my 18-inch dolls. I'll put those aside for now. What I used, I had Mod Podge. I used sand. This is optional. I just got at Hobby Lobby. And I used just white. Either Model Magic, or if you prefer polymer clay. I color my Model Magic by spreading it open like this, putting a drop or two only of the paint, and get it all mixed up real good until I come up with the color I want. So today I'm going to do a pink bunny rabbit. And what I've done here is I have used my pasta maker. If you don't have one, you're going to have to roll out your Model Magic or your polymer clay in different depth widths. If you can see, one is so much thicker than the other. On my pasta maker, this thinner one was done on a 4, and the thicker one was the thickest one on there, which is a 1. And I did that because you'll see in a few minutes that I need both of those sizes. And what I did is I just cut them out with this 1-inch cookie cutter. So you need to figure out what size you want and what you're comfortable with. This is what I worked with. I made a bunch of different ones. I made some that came out very tiny, and if you'll see, they look like kittens instead of bunny rabbits. And I made other ones that I wasn't pleased with the size. So I roll these into a circle and push it down to about the thickness that I would like to have my bunny. Then I take the next one and I do the same with that, push it down to try to get it to be about the same thickness as the first one. And I'm going to make this larger one into I have a point on it, still about the same thickness. Now I'm going to take them and I'm going to push them together. Now, I've done several of these, and pushing them together real well. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. I push them together real well, and they'll get Mod Podged later on as well, so they work out quite well. So what I do at this point is I want to make sure, let me see if I can get this into a larger picture here. I'll put it sideways. I want to make this top section, I want to make another circle about the same size as this one, and I definitely eyeball it. Push that in on that side, and then on the other side, push it in about the same. So that's about as close as I can get, just eyeballing it. And you can kind of see the bunny starting to come together. Now what I do is I take a small scissors and I'm going to get the center. In fact, I'm going to make it a little pointier. I like it a little point in there. And down the center and up to where I indented, I'm going to cut. And that is then my bunny ears. So that's the first part, and this is where my Model Magic has to set. I let it sit for overnight. I let it sit for 24 hours just to be on the safe side. So if you're working with polymer clay, at this point you can go ahead and you can bake. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I like to insert my eyes and nose. And some people would prefer to paint or put a bead or something in it, but I like to put my little holes for those, and I'll refer to those later. So you can see my bunnies aren't perfect. One of my ears is different shape than the other one, but that's kind of the best that I can do, and they all turn out a little bit different. So that dries for 24 hours. After that dries, I have one that has dried. I'm going to Mod Podge this, and then I'm going to dip it into the sand. So bear with me. I'm not very good at this in trying to keep it on the camera, but here I go. Get my Mod Podge ready. Pour a little bit of it out, and I'm gonna lather this little guy down real good all over. Try not to miss anything. This gets pretty messy because it's going to get on your hands, and guess what? Unless you've got a really bad case of OCD, and I have a granddaughter who does, but it'll wash off. It'll feel yucky, and it'll get slippery, but that's okay. So I'm going to go the other side at the top. Oh, I'm sorry. I realize now that you're not being able to see what I'm doing. Okay. This is where it feels yucky because you got your hands on that slippery stuff. But I'm going to try to get it everywhere. If you miss a spot and the sand doesn't come out on it exactly right, it's okay. These don't have to be perfect. It will have the effect that you want. So now I get my sand and I dip it in there and I shake so that I make sure that I get the top of the bunny ears and the bottom of the bunny. And then I flip it over and do the same thing. Get as much of it as I can, and push it down, and now I'm going to let it dry. Don't worry if it's thicker in some spots than others. This will become, even though it's white, it will become fairly clear. It'll just have a sugar effect to it. So then that has to dry. Wipe my hands down here. And I've got one here that I've got the sand on, the sugar on. You can see it, if not too well, but it's there. So all I have left to do right now is to put the eyes on it. Now, if you want to just draw your eyes on, or you want to just paint, you don't even have to mark these in the very beginning, but I like to mark them. And what I use for my eyes, I have pieces of polymer clay that I baked. They're in strands and strips. And so I cut those down to the size that I need. So bear with me here again, I'm sorry. I lost one of them. I'll do another third one here. So what I do now, these are hard to pick up. They're tiny. I push them down into the circles that I made before. Whoops. Push them down into the circles I made before. Here's the other one. had one more that I lost again. I'll just cut another one here. Oops, let me put that out there. And I need to do the mouth. Push that in. And there he is. That's my other one. So these are my bunny rabbits. Obviously, they're not all looking the same, but I think they're kind of cute. So sorry for the not too good video, but I think you have an idea now how to do the bunnies. Thank you. This is Fran from Treasures for Dolls. Happy Easter.